Greetings, I am Ali Sina and this is my opinion. The 2008 presidential election in America is the most crucial election in this country's history. Not because the issues are that critical, but because of Senator Barack Obama. The Democratic presidential candidate's language, posture and demeanor suggests that he may suffer from narcissistic personality disorder or NPD. NPD is a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and sense of entitlement. Often individuals feel overly important, exaggerate achievements, and will accept and often demand praise and admiration despite worthy achievements. The following are some of the symptoms of NPD that can be seen in Senator Obama. He subtly misrepresents facts, opportunistically shifts positions, ignores data that conflicts with his fantasy world, is overly confident, and acts presidential despite commensurate merits and his modest life achievements. Considers himself above the law, talks about himself in third person, has a messianic vision of himself and his mission, displays false modesty while often evincing haughtiness, encourages praise, sublimates aggression, holds grudges, and behaves like an adolescent. NPD is the prime disorder experienced by all madmen of history, from Hitler to Stalin, Mao, Kim, Pol Pot, Khomeini, Osama, Saddam, and Idi Amin. These men wreaked havoc and killed millions. They look normal. Few suspected their insanity until it was too late. Obama shares something else with these infamous narcissists: a chaotic childhood. One determining factor in the development of NPD is childhood abuse, such as neglecting his or her emotional needs. Pathological narcissism is not run-of-the-mill narcissism, someone with a hedonistic or self-centered sense of self, but rather someone with a very weak sense of self. A child who feels inferior due to real or perceived social rejection will try to compensate his feeling of inferiority by a subconscious neurotic mechanism which the pioneering psychiatrist Alfred Adler coined superiority complex. Such a person compensates his devalued and injured self with puffery, pomposity, and by projecting a false image of majesty and authority. He retreats into a bubble universe of fantasy in which he is loved, respected, and omnipotent. All children create such a fantasy world. Narcissists simply don't live it. Since due to their extreme feeling of inferiority, they don't fit in the real world, they refuge into this bubble world of fantasy. This world of pretense becomes to them as real as the real world, to the point that they can't tell the difference. When Obama acts presidential, he is simply acting out his childhood fantasy of omnipotence and grandeur. Emotionally, he is still a hurt little boy, neglected and unloved in the body and mind of a grown-up man. Narcissists have the emotional maturity of a child or even an animal, but the intellect of a man. They feel like a beast but think like a human. What makes narcissists dangerous is their lack of conscience combined with their superior intelligence and their superb performance ability that fool many. They are predators that outsmart you. To a narcissist, reality and fantasy are intertwined. He does not just pretend to be omnipotent, omniscient, and superior to others, he actually believes it to be so. His delusions of grandiosity are real to him. That's why Obama acts presidential despite his nugatory life achievements, lack of experience, and complete ignorance in economic, political, and military matters, as his flip-floppings show. Obama is a cipher, but in his mind, and those of his worshippers such as Oprah Winfrey, he is the one, the Messiah that holds the key to all human sufferings. Narcissism is not just a character flaw, but a mental disorder. Pathological narcissists are dangerous because they look normal and they are intelligent, when in reality they live in a bubble world of fantasy. It is this incoherence, this disjunction between reality and fantasy that makes them overly confident, self-assured, and authoritative. Narcissists disguise their feeling of inferiority by projecting unusual calmness, confidence, assertiveness, dominance, and focus, and almost always possess superb thespian, communication, and oratorical skills. These are traits that make one charismatic and attract a stampede of votaries like flies to sugar. Narcissists are needy people who crave for attention. They develop these skills and act them out with regal exquisiteness to attract love, respect, and admiration. They are performers, actors, sleek chameleons. Sadly, all the grace, exuberance, equanimity, charm, positive energy, and magnetism that the narcissist project are pretense. They have the same function that the styrofoam Greek columns at the Democratic National Convention had: to impress. The world of the narcissist is the magical world of smoke and mirrors. He is an illusionist par excellence. NPD and people's lack of understanding of it has made it possible for many insane individuals to rise to the pinnacles of power. It is to this disorder that we owe most of the carnage of history. When the Bible describes Satan, it gives a textbook definition of narcissism. Narcissists are charming, charismatic, intelligent, persuasive, but deceitful and ruthless. They can seduce multitudes. When World War II ended and its horror became known, the world said never again. Never again can only work if we choose our leaders wisely. Once a madman is in power, it's already too late. In an article entitled Understanding Obama, The Making of a Fuehrer, I have shown many narcissistic traits that can be observed in Senator Obama. Should the senator have NPD, all issues in this election would pale in comparison to what is at stake. Imagine someone with the mindset of Hitler, Khomeini, or Kim Jong-il in the White House, with Congress and Senate at his feet. Can you think of a more dreadful scenario? It makes no sense that cops and pilots should be required to take psychiatric evaluation prior to being trusted with a gun or an aircraft, whereas there is no such requirement for those aspiring to run a country and be commander-in-chief in charge of weapons of mass destruction. It's time for the people of the world to demand that those who want to become head of any country submit to rigorous mental checkups. Millions of lives depend on the sanity of these leaders. If the physical health of presidential candidates is important, how much more important is their mental health? There is no basis upon which to assume Obama would become a murderous tyrant. But there are a number of disturbing traits he shares with murderous world leaders that are worrisome. He can dispel our fears by submitting to a mental checkup. In the spirit of fairness, I am asking all candidates to submit to this test. Psychiatric evaluation for leaders seeking position of authority must become mandatory in all countries. Without it, we are playing Russian roulette with war and our lives. Imagine how many millions of lives would have been spared only in the last century if aspiring leaders were screened and madmen barred from gaining power. If you agree this is a vital issue, which transcends all other issues, whatever your political affiliation, I urge you to please sign this petition and invite others to do the same. If enough people become concerned about Senator Obama's mental health, they may think twice before casting their votes for him. Knowledge is power. Power be with you.